Be ready. Start. It goes without saying that in matters of determination of compensation, both the tribunal and the court are statutorily charged with a responsibility of fixing a just compensation. It is obviously true that determination of just compensation cannot be equated to a bonanza. At the same time, the concept of just compensation obviously suggests application of fair and equitable principles and a reasonable approach on the part of the tribunals and the courts. This reasonableness on the part of the tribunal and the court must be on a large peripheral field. The determination of the quantum must be liberal, not niggardly, since the law values life and limb in free country in generous scales. While dealing with concept of just compensation, it has been ruled that the word just as its nomenclature denotes equitability, fairness and reasonableness having large peripheral field. The largeness is of course not arbitrary, it is restricted by the conscience which is fair, reasonable and equitable. If it exceeds, it is termed as unfair, unreasonable, unequitable, not just. The field of wider discretion of the tribunal has to be within the said limitations. It is required to make an award determining the amount of compensation which in turn appears to be just and reasonable. For compensation for loss of limbs or life can hardly be weighed in golden scales. It is noteworthy to state that an adjudicating authority, while determining quantum of compensation, has to keep in view the sufferings of the injured person, which would include his inability to lead a full life, his incapacity to enjoy the normal amenities which he would have enjoyed but for the injuries, and his ability to earn as much as he used to earn or could have earned. Hence, while computing compensation, the approach of the tribunal or a court has to be broad based. Needless to say, it would involve some guesswork as there cannot be any mathematical exactitude or a precise formula to determine the quantum of compensation. In determination of compensation, the fundamental criteria of just compensation should be inherent. The inability to earn livelihood on the basis of incapacity or disability, which is quite different. The incapacity or disability to earn a livelihood would have to be viewed not only in presenti but in futuro on reasonable expectancies and taking into account deprival of earnings of a conceivable period. This had being totally different cannot, in our view, overlap the grant of compensation under the head of pain, suffering, and loss of enjoyment of life. One head relates to the impairment of person's capacity to earn, the other relates to the pain and suffering and loss of enjoyment of life by the person himself. The bench proceeded to state that it is true that compensation for loss of earning power stroke capacity has to be determined based on various aspects including permanent injury stroke disability, but at the same time it cannot be construed that compensation cannot be granted for permanent disability of any nature. It has been mentioned by way of an example that in a case of a non earning member of a family who has been injured in an accident and sustained permanent disability due to amputation of leg or hand, it cannot be construed that no amount needs to be granted for permanent disability. It cannot be disputed that apart from the fact that the permanent disability affects the earning capacity of the person concerned, undoubtedly one has to forego other personal comforts, and even for normal avocation they have to depend on others. Broadly speaking, while fixing an amount of compensation payable to a victim of an accident, the damages have to be assessed separately as pecuniary damages and special damages. Pecuniary damages are those which the victim has actually incurred and which are capable of being calculated in terms of money, whereas non pecuniary damages are those which are incapable of being assessed by arithmetical calculations. In order to appreciate two concepts, pecuniary damages may include expenses incurred by the claimant: 1. Medical attendance; 2. Loss of earning of profit up to the date of trial; 3. Other material loss. So far non-pecuniary damages are concerned, they may include: 1. Damages for mental and physical shock, pain and suffering already suffered or likely to be suffered in future; 2. Damages to compensate for the loss of amenities of life, which may include a variety of matters, that is, on account of injury the claimant may not be able to walk, run or sit. 3. Damages for the loss of expectation of life, that is, on account of injury the normal longevity of the person concerned is shortened. 4. Inconvenience, hardship, discomfort, disappointment, frustration and mental stress in life. Thank you.